Joining us this time with our Ventru, Connor, who we last saw returning from the Oakland airport after failing to return with a particular caitiff that was supposed to be received there. Since then, we do not know what has become of this caitiff, but they were at least able to retrieve part of the package, a package that the prince was also interested in. Connor was offered a sort of boon for actually completing this, since it is the prince's fault that Connor is no longer the chief of police in San Francisco, but is instead the chief of police of Mill Valley, a significantly less prestigious place to be working. We are now going to join our kindred. First, with Connor, who finds himself at a bar that he frequents. Small location, kind of hole in the wall. A real trashy sort of place. Place like this where some of the town's riffraff may go, or just people who happen to find themselves there one night. Definitely not a 5-star establishment. Definitely not some kind of big how-do-you-do kind of place. Just a small bar where mortals often go just for some kind of, hopefully, small amount of relief that they can get after a hard day of work. Connor visits this place often. And today, for whatever reason, Connor finds himself back there. Where are you sitting in this bar, Connor? At a booth or at the bar?
Directly at the bar. There's a person next to me. I'm currently talking to that person. Remind me. I forget. What do you drink again?
The, patron of this bar is down, a little bit of what looks to be some sort of Irish stout. Perhaps Guinness. And they look like they've had a long day, but they seem to be comfortable spending time with you. Looks at you, Connor, with this, the look of someone who has come back from a shift longer than they should have had. Saying, I just drink whatever feels good for the night. How about you?
I don't know. I feel like most of the things that I'd like to drink are not things that they actually serve here, so I settle for the next best thing they put in front of me. But, oh well. You still have nothing. Because, I don't know. I don't really know where to go right now. I don't really care out there. And if you need another glass to fill, I can pay for the next one. Then he will absentmindedly flip some coins and catch them back.
He looks a little like he relates to what you said. Just this kind of ease as he grabs his beer and takes a big swig of it and sets it on the table. Are you like a cop or something?
I don't like that word. Not in the slightest. But yes, I am a member of the police force, if that is the question. I don't really know. What in your eyes would constitute a cop? What would make that person differ from a normal person that works at the police? Or is everyone who works at the police a cop?
I think that there's kind of like two kinds of people work in the police. The cops and the people who were ambitious but foolish enough to think that joining up was gonna do something good for the neighborhood or the community or something.
There's some truth in what you just said. There's some absolute truth in that. I would think most of the time it's even a little bit different. I think most of the people that join because they want to do something good for the neighborhood end up becoming the cops, but hey. No matter. And then he will try to wink to the barkeeper.
Barkeep nods at your wink and takes this man's glass and fills it up a little bit more. This man doesn't seem to have noticed that, though. He seems pretty content with the drink that he has, almost like not noticing that there's more in it now. Do you take pride in what you do?
Not particularly. I mean, pride is a difficult word. You know, I would not say I take pride in the things that I do. I would say I take pride in select achievements that I have accomplished. Some of those be, yes, things that I've accomplished as part of the police force, some that I've accomplished as my own person.
Right. I don't take pride in what I do either.
Well, what do you do? I'm interested. What brings a man so low?
Started, doing that ride sharing stuff. Uber, Lyft. Did that DoorDash, Grubhub shit for a while. I used to do 3 of them at the same time.
Oh, wow.
I used to work in a union. I used to work a trade. I made too many mistakes. I ended up doing this instead.
Well, who exactly says you can't go back to that? Is the big question that I would be asking. If you learned a trade, then you learned that trade. Right? Why are you not pursuing that trade?
Some things are built upon relationships. Who you know, who's in charge, who they've talked to. And I've done too many people wrong the bad way. So, if I want to go somewhere where people aren't gonna bring up my reputation, I've gotta get out of here. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just too attached to the bay.
Oh, so true. I mean, I was attached to a place once. It's a long time ago, but it was. Good old Boston.
Boston?
A long time ago. But let me tell you, you think the world is tiny, and you think the Bay is the world. Believe me, the world is so much bigger. If you want to get out of the Bay, you can get out of the Bay. It's either you that's keeping you here, or it's something else that's keeping you here. So what is it that's keeping you here?
I think that's a good question, but could you answer that question yourself? For you? Could you just get up and leave if you wanted?
Touche, salesman. Touche. I suppose not.
At this, Lilith, you enter the door. It doesn't take you long to find Connor's distinctive red hair in the bar. It's a shit dive, but you can see why it would attract someone in here. However, it's not the first place you would look for a Ventru. That's for sure. Connor, I'd like you to roll Wits and Awareness.
All right. That's
Nice.
a 7, a 6, and a 6.
3 successes. 3 successes. As though a cold wind blew in, you felt the door open to the bar. And you don't even have to look to know that there is a Kindred that has entered.
Oh, bloody. And I will just stand up and look.
You definitely recognize Lilith. Just having completed walking through the threshold, standing on the other side. And Lilith, you see Connor looking directly at you from across the bar.
She and just heads for a empty booth that's kind of tucked towards the back.
Connor will, on that note, just wink to the bar personnel, give them a little bit of money and go. For the next however many rounds, whatever this guy gets, just get him. And then he will move to that place. He will walk over.
Bartender nods and drinking partner goes, "Hey, I hope that you're get things in order."
Oh, don't we both? Don't we both, my friend?
By the time Connor gets over to the booth that Lilith's in, she's got a little knife out and she's carving something into the tabletop. And very large, very noticeable is the Anarch A, the Anarchy symbol that forms the first letters of ACAB, carved next to it on right where Connor's going to have to sit down, on the table right in front of where Connor has to sit down.
Very funny.
So there's an Anarch symbol that is part of ACAB with a little smiley face that has the smiley face has 2 little fangs on it. That's carved into the table.
As said, Connor will just go, very funny. We'll sit down. Just look the lid in the eyes and goes, let's go to the chase. Why are you here?
Somebody wants to meet you because, trust me, 1, I do not like having to hang out with you blue blood types. And 2, really? Is this slumming night for the Ventru? I mean, I feel like I need an STD test just walking in the door. And I'm dead.
Well, since you're dead, then you don't care, do you? You don't need to concern yourself with the things I do. But yes, really.
Oh,
Who
so
wants to
yes,
meet me?
you are slumming. Wow. I wonder what Daddy Vanavar would think if he knew that one of his oh so noble Ventru was just in such a shithole. I
Well,
mean, I'm
I'm
Gangrel.
gonna give you the update. Vanavar is the reason I'm in this shithole. I'm fairly sure Vanavar doesn't like me to begin with. And I'm fairly sure you picked up on that.
Yeah, the feeling's
Come on.
mutual.
Understandable. Really, I get it. Who wants to meet me? Where do we go? Just get this over with.
We're here because they wanted to meet you. And quite frankly, I'll let them do the introduction because they sought me out, called me up. I was having a very good evening hanging out with a Gangrel friend of mine over in Oakland, and I was called to ask to bring them to meet you. So I will let them, when they're ready, to make their introduction. But, and Lilith leans forward and looks Connor like right in the eye. I would be a good boy and listen to what they have to say because they are quite knowledgeable and they are quite influential. And then she just leans back.
Alright then. Connor will just take some more coins out of like the armband, just fumble around with them, then play around with the fingers a bit, and just look very defeated and just go, do we stay here? Do they have any contact? How do we proceed? Do I have to go in that car again? And take on what was probably one of the most bumpiest rides of my life?
Lilith starts playing on her phone as Connor's just like continuing to talk, and she's basically texting Sam like, hey, yeah, we're here whenever you want to walk in. And she just kind of looks at Connor as he's talking and goes, do you have an off switch?
No, I don't.
You get an elaborate text back that says, well then bring him outside. Damn, I'm out here waiting. Girl, what are you doing taking so long? Bring that Ventru in front of me immediately.
So Lilith she's looking at her phone. She just like rolls her eyes and sighs, looks at Connor and goes, okay, pretty boy, they want to meet you outside. So, yeah. And then she just gets up and starts walking towards the door.
Alrighty then. Connor will just take all of the coins, put them back into the arm, and just follow.
Alright. As you exit, the sound of the music of the bar just seems to disappear as soon as the door shuts behind you with a heavy thud. Now you're outside. There's a little bit of fog. It's pretty dark. There's just a little bit of illumination from the street lights that are on the road next to the bar. Just underneath that, there is a figure that comes from behind the bar in shadows, wearing a black hoodie, black pants, black boots, wearing black gloves. Underneath that black hood, you can just barely make out a disfigured face. The throat, the chin, looks almost reptilian, almost scaly. And when they lift their head a bit, you can see a face, missing a nose, jagged, crooked teeth and a smile, greenish brown skin and non-symmetrically placed eyeballs in their sockets. And the pupils themselves look like a snake's pupils. Obviously, this is someone from Clan Nosferatu. But they are not one that you have seen before. They raise their hands up in this almost excitement before clapping their hands together once and holding them there. Ah, this is the former police chief of San Francisco, Connor. How are you doing? My name is Sam. My anarch friends call me Sam the Snake. And he does this almost involuntary looking flick of his tongue, which may give him his nickname, as though he just needed to moisten his lips for a quick second.
Oh. Well, good meeting you. So, someone came all the way out here to meet me. I am excited. I'm asking myself why, but I am excited. So then, hello.
Hello. I heard about you long time ago. The rumor was that you got demoted in the mortal world because the Kindred were the ones that convinced you to fuck up your old case. How true is that?
Well, you know how some people are. No, some people don't trust other kindreds to be in an official court of law, as it has never happened before. Definitely. Most surely, it is not an occurrence that has ever been. But no, that is sadly the truth.
I like the way you talk. You see, Lilith, this is how you talk. Full, complete sentences.
Repetition teaches even a donkey.
Means a lot coming from a wolf.
And she, snaps her jaws.
To which he flicks out his tongue that is split down the center. So.
Hey, Connor. You know what a tongue like that's good for?
No idea, but you're probably gonna tell me.
Nah, but I will recommend it. I mean, some Nosferatu have a way with their tongue.
Knock yourself out. Alright then. I said, why are we here?
Well, there is an interesting situation developing on the Anarch side of the Armistice, on our border. Namely, a serial killer. A Kindred serial killer. We think, judging from your past investigation, I thought it would be good to get your second opinion. And also, I wanted Lilith's second opinion because of who I think the killer is.
Lilith was in the middle of, lighting up a joint, and she just kind of, stops and looks over at Sam. Are you saying that it's possible I might know who this Kindred might be?
I am saying that. I know it wasn't you. I know who has alibis and who doesn't. I know who was where, for the most part, on the Anarch side. But I don't know about the Camarilla, he says, looking to Connor. And I don't know about the Sabbat, he says, looking at Lilith.
Lilith is, at this point, she's going to, lower her joint. She's going to just, kind of, stop and, eyes immediately snap to Sam in, a very noticeable way that her eyes are snapping. She probably knows, she has history.
Mm-hmm. Sam does his trademark devious smile that, for all those who have heard of Sam the Snake, have described. They described it really well, because that is that exact face that you're seeing on him. So, my proposition. There's been another recent murder. But it's on the Camarilla side. You, Connor, might be able to let me into the morgue with your considerable influence.
Considerable?
If
Where
I
exactly
am...
was this murder?
This murder was in San Francisco.
It pains me to say this, I'm not sure if my influences will be enough. I fear that there are very few people working in the police in San Francisco that still actually trust me to have half a brain cell.
Do you know what the chief of police in San Francisco is?
At the moment? I would 100% probably know. Still, I would know, right? That's it.
Yeah, you know that they're mortal.
Yeah. I know. I know what you're referring to.
More
and
importantly,
I know in that sense
though,
that I could.
do you know who the coroner is?
Mm-hmm.
They're also mortal.
No, I know. I just don't like what you're referring to here.
It doesn't need to be a moment where you fully assert your authority into this matter. Just enough to get me through the door.
Alright. Why me? Wouldn't have just about any kindred that has easily control over mortals, and let's be real here, there's not a few. Would have been enough.
One, I don't know
This interests
any
me.
kindred who are in law enforcement besides you. Secondly, I don't trust the Camarilla, but I trust someone who has a reason to dislike them.
I suppose that's fair enough. Just for the record, I don't think I'd like the Camarilla any more than I like you. But this offer interests me. And I do think it would be interesting. Let's be honest, the kindred that just goes around killing people for the shits and giggles isn't exactly optimal for either side.
No.
Lilith snickers at the comment. The kindred just doesn't go around killing people for shits and giggles. She snorts and goes, well, some do.
Fair enough.
To which
I
Sam
guess that was overzealous of
smiles.
me.
Sam smiles and just go, I remember when we defeated a bunch of them in a war.
You're an odd
Lilith listens to that comment and just kind of looks away.
All right. Well then, I'll take you up on the offer. This is interesting enough, at least. Here's what I propose. I'm not only getting you through the door, I don't feel comfortable leaving you alone in this territory, in a morgue, on your own. I'm definitely coming with. I suppose the Lilith will probably follow, because I'm fairly sure the Lilith doesn't trust me to be alone around you. Alright then. Party of 3 it is. Which car are we taking? And he's just
I'm
gonna
driving.
look to Lilith.
Lilith immediately just goes, I'm driving, and kind of like smacks her thigh, looking at Connor like, come on, boy. And starts heading over to a familiar car with that is an all-black car with a very recently and artistically spray painted Anarch symbol on it. Lilith hops in the car. She sends a text to the proper individuals within the Camarilla, basically to let people like the sheriff of the Camarilla and the prince know that she is escorting an Anarch into the territory and that Connor is with them for transparency.
Real quick, I'd like you to make a wits and technology roll. 2? Okay. Alright, you send the message. In the back, Sam starts going on, I always thought that I had a chance with Mandy. She always said that owls and snakes don't get along. Don't know what that meant, but I assured her that they could. She just hadn't given it a try yet. Anyways, I think she loves me.
I don't think you're her type.
That's what she said. But something that my old man said before I staked him. You never know until you keep on trying.
I can't tell if you're just not perceptive or just maybe a little bit stupid. Whatever. And Connor will, call whoever is working right now at the station. Like, who is in the station, not, like, on patrol, but in the station.
Alright. Calling the, your station, or are you calling a different station?
My station.
Okay. Your deputy picks up and answers with the usual. Mill Valley Police Department.
Hey, it's Connor. Can you do me a favor real quick?
Yes, sir.
Can you check if there's been any cases with at least some dead people? Like, could be anything. Doesn't need to be anything particularly violent. Could be accidents that just sound a little bit off, where people would be, like, where the corpses would be in the morgue in San Francisco.
Interesting you say that, sir. There was a man who called earlier about the same thing. We didn't give him that information.
It was, like, particularly grating voice. Kind of a little bit annoying.
Well, now that you mention it, I guess I would describe it that way.
Yeah, okay.
There were 2 bodies came in from San Francisco. Drained of blood, sir.
I assumed that. And they put me, like, the info on the names of the bodies. And the name of the case, please.
Yes, sir, I will send you the information. But I do not know who they were specifically, but what I can tell you, sir, is they were affiliated with the Masquerade.
I assumed that much. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. But at least this isn't completely useless now. Well, still, thank you.
Of course, sir.
Have a good night.
Good night. Going over from San Rafael into San Francisco, the fastest way is over the historic Golden Gate Bridge. This night is much like most nights over the Golden Gate. Fog, cold, dark. For the Kindred of the Bay, this is just what the bridge looks like pretty much every night. It doesn't really mean that much. It's not that special. Connor might remember times when never really had to go over the bridge this way. Hasn't really had too many reasons to make it into San Francisco unless the prince called, but also remembering a time when San Francisco was home. Lilith, you remember when not too long ago even, doesn't seem that way at least, you used to see this bridge in the day, and now that's never gonna happen again. And now it's hard to disassociate this bridge with the Camarilla themselves. Sam the Snake has an interesting bit of input to say. You know, I remember when this thing was built. I remember people saying that it couldn't be done. I thought then that the fact that they could build it was proof that mortals were powerful, strong, that they could accomplish anything that they set their mind to. Just a thought.
Hey, Grandpappy, tell us the other one. The one about having to fight your way uphill through Guru to and from school.
You know, I'm actually one of the few Kindred that has actually seen one of the Guru in the Bay. The rest of them, as far as I know, are Gangrel and Nosferatu. Haven't yet talked to a Toreador that's met one, that's for sure.
That's because the first time they would try to do their haughty-taughty act, the Guru would just rip their head off and use it as a bowling ball.
One day, we may integrate our sports with the Guru yet. Toreable. That's what we'll call it.
I actually kinda like some of the Guru. I'll have to remember that.
So, going into the city, going through the still quite busy streets at night, you wind up at the San Francisco Police Department station. Sam immediately becomes invisible in the seat, and all you hear from him is, "After you."
Good call. And then I'll just go out, approach, walk in.
All right.
Straight up.
As you go through the front doors, a bit of nostalgia comes over. The building hasn't really changed. It still looks the same. But everyone in there, you don't recognize any of them. Bunch of officers and one clerk at the front. Not a real cop or anything. Just sits there and says, SFPD, what can I do for you?
Well, I will pull out my badge. I'm Connor. You might know me. Or not. It's been a while. Anyway, I'm here from the Mill Valley Police Department. There are some corpses in the morgue I'd like to take a look at, if that's fine with you.
They acknowledge your badge, and then they just go, one moment. And they grab at the phone on their desk and punch 2 numbers, bring the receiver to their ear. They wait a moment before going, hey, this is Pat up front. Yeah, we have, I think, police chief from Mill Valley saying that they want to look at one of our bodies in the morgue. 1 second. What did you say your name was?
Connor Blair.
Connor Blair. Very good, sir. All right. They hang up the phone and look back at you and say, Sergeant Jenkins will be here in a moment to escort you to the morgue.
Perfect. I suppose I will wait outside. Just no. And I will go back to Lilith and some.
Hold on. Go ahead and do that, but Lilith, earlier a while back, Molly redeemed some beast whispers for you.
Oh,
Yes! That's what I like to hear. Good girl, Molly.
You are in the police station, and my goodness, there's a whole lot of different kinds of blue bloods walking around in here. Seeing that, the beast says to you, this is delicious. How easy do you think it would be to just pretend that you're lost, get someone to escort you somewhere alone, just with them? Then you could have a real feast. What would the Bay Area really lose in a drained cop? Nothing. Go on. You can do it. It'll taste so good.
Lilith's face gets more wolfish looking. Her eyes take on a very bestial glow to them that definitely could be quite disconcerting. Her fangs slide down. She leans down to the over the counter, and her nails have kind of started getting a bit more bestial, and she's digging into the desk just slightly. Excuse me. Is there someone that can show me which way to the ladies' room? I have to use it. Maybe someone can escort me?
you hear a different whispering in your head now, just from behind you. What the fuck are you doing? It's just that. And, the clerk just points down the hall and says, there's no need for that. It's just the last door on the left.
Lilith's face and eyes just immediately snap back, and she kind of like shakes herself like she was in a bit of a daze. Like, it would seem like she just was, oh, I don't know what just came over me, to anybody that would look at her. And she's like, you know what? Never mind. I don't need to use it. And she turns around and starts walking to the door to follow Connor out, and she just whispers, fucking hell, that was close.
Are you gonna be okay?
If you see me start to beast out again, you are authorized to slap the shit out of me.
Good.
And not on the backside either.
A certain Sergeant Jenkins approaches, goes, Chief Connor Blair?
Yes. Here. Question. Do I, still know this person well? Do they remember me from when I was chief here? Or are they newer? Because that is, at this point.
They seem to be squinting at, they're trying to see if that's, really you. They're trying to get a good look at you in the light. Is that you, sir?
Yes, it is. I'm surprised that anyone here still remembers me. It's been a hot minute. Well.
Yeah. What brings you back to the city?
Well, there were some bodies, and I have good suspicions that they might be involved in a case over at my new apartment. So I wanted to get a look at them to maybe confirm that.
Yeah.
This person next to me here, what the lead is a witness. They are required, so they just will have to come along.
Charisma subterfuge?
Oh God! It's 4, 3, a 2, and a 1, and the 1 is the hunger. Oh, that's bad.
Wow, that's definitely a combination.
That's some hot garbage.
Oh.
Just like my life.
Wow.
A crit fail.
That's incredible. Holy shit.
What can I say? I'm the king of low chances.
This is amazing. I'm so excited. All right. So.
Wow, it's a good thing that Sam was there to stop Lilith, because this night could have been. This night could have definitely been a hot mess.
Hey, it can get worse.
So, just as soon as you finish saying, your whole thing is there's a witness, the sergeant says to you, a witness? Well, not to the crimes that we have in here, sir. And that is the last thing that you remember, Connor. Because what happens after that, Sam the Snake and the Lilith witness in front of themselves, is you, with your left hand, grab him by the side of the head, with the right hand, pull him down to force him to kneel to you as you lean over and violently sink your fangs directly into his throat. He lets out one quick yell of "ah!" and then succumbs to what is happening. Lilith, what would you like to do about this situation?
She's going to do a humanity roll.
Okay.
Because she's already lost to the beast once tonight, so she needs to see if she can control herself on this. Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
2 successes, two failures.
You're good.
Whew.
Actually, 3.
Okay. What?
10 counts as 2.
Oh, yeah. Sweet. Cool. So, she, like, her eyes go wide and she just snatches Connor by the scruff of the neck and literally yanks him away from this poor bastard who's now got his throat ripped open, and just slams him so hard into the car that she actually dents the quarter panel with Connor.
That's what
and
you're
goes,
attempting to do.
Yes, that's what she's attempting to do.
Let's have you do strength brawl.
He's got, there.
Yeah, that's very good. It's lots of successes there. Yeah. Connor, if you were in control of yourself, would you let yourself be pulled away?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then roll your willpower.
9, a 7, a 6, a 5, and a 1. Other dice too?
Okay. Yeah, once you feel yourself being pulled away, you suddenly come back and realize that you are getting close to draining this officer of his blood. And you let yourself go and you feel yourself slammed down. And you will take 2 superficial damage from the impact. Sergeant Jenkins is somewhat between delirious and unconscious on the ground. Connor, you come to and you see the Lilith has slammed you to the ground and is holding you there.
What the fuck was that, Connor?
Don't tell me you've never experienced that. God damn it. Thank you. Oh. Is he dead?
Nah. He's not gonna remember what happened. But
Does he need a blood transfusion to survive?
nah. Just needs a good night's sleep.
Oh, damn it.
Luckily, I come with some situations prepared for this. And
Just tell him.
for a quick
tell him
moment,
that
he grabs a piece in his cloak that he's got. He becomes visible, and it's just basically a strong-smelling alcohol, and he just puts it around the collar of his shirt, and then he vanishes and disappears again. He's like, can't speak very well about what his job might turn out to be, but we have an explanation ready to go.
Lilith kind of like picks up the officer and just kind of like drags him over to a bench and just kind of like props him up and sits him there. Like he was sitting there and just kind of like fell over. And then, with a bit of childish humor, pulls out a pen and draws something upon the passed out officer's face.
Nice. And after that, Connor, as you are recovering from an invisible source, you see a ring of keys from the officer plop in front of you. I'm sure one of these leads to the morgue. You remember where it's at?
Yeah, I don't remember which one's the right one, unless they changed the keys, but... Give me a moment. Just give me a moment.
It's not how I thought the night would go, that's for sure.
Well, me neither. And Connor will just silently plop back into the car.
Hey, Mr. Breach of the Masquerade, you all good over there?
Good question. Can't really answer. Don't really know. But I suppose let's finish where we started.
Let's try to do it a little bit faster.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
I agree. Let's get this done and over with before one of us, and she looks square at Connor, ends up being staked out for the sun for a breach of Masquerade.
Honestly, sometimes I think that would probably be for the best. Carry on. And Connor will just tell them where the morgue is. Just kind of defeatedly.
I don't gotta tell you what the masquerade means or how important it is, so I'm not gonna. It's not about that. But I will tell you, if the cam tries to come down on you hard for something like this, it don't gotta be that way.
There's a fine line between dedication and affiliation. And I don't know. I can never bring myself to cross that line over to the dedication. A lot of things, really.
I see. So,
All right.
yes.
So we all good. We all got our fifis out. We done pulling ourselves together, getting our heads out of our asses. We're gonna do this. No more vamping out.
Hopefully.
And that goes for me as well. And she looks back at Sam.
Yeah, I had a drink tonight.
Right.
Well, I was in the makings of getting mine, and then I was closely interrupted, but hey.
And we're off.
So, doesn't take too long to get to the city morgue. There, doors are locked, but you do, of course, have keys. It looks like the medical examiner is currently there, but just not seeing or expecting anyone to be arriving right now. You can tell from just kind of the light being on inside. Sam becomes invisible, and when the car stops, once again says, "After you."
Okay. I'll make this offer now. as you probably noticed, I don't like a lot of people that work in this part of the city. Well, at least not anymore. I would at least probably want to let the examiner know we're here. Just going, hey, we're here to see these bodies. The key, and a badge. But just for safety's sake, follow closely after. And if I do something stupid, go full throttle. And he will just go out of the car and approach the door with the keys.
Not a lot of people give me permission to do something like this. I can see what those consensualist vampires enjoy.
Lilith looks over at Sam, or where Sam's voice is emanating from, and she just chuckles and then holds up the handcuffs that she took from the cop on the bench earlier, and just laughs and kind of like twirls them around her finger and follows Connor.
All right. So, when you approach Connor, you can see that the door is locked. The door to the next area where the medical examiner would have his office, the light in there is on, but doesn't look like you don't expect that he would be expecting you or anyone else at this hour.
Mm-hmm. Well, at first I would probably try to just... I mean, there's, like, probably no bell in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Or is there?
There would be an option to, like, you could knock, but there's no, like, doorbell or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, I would probably first try that.
All right.
I imagine that is not getting an answer.
It does not appear so.
Well, then I will just open the door, and upon going in, and be like, hello? This is Connor Blair, Chief Police of Mill Valley. I am here with a witness, and we would like to see some bodies.
As
Is anyone
you
here?
start talking, as you open the door, you can hear that there's some music playing in the office, and as you start talking, the music gets turned down, and coming out from the office, you can see Jacob Sinclair, the medical examiner, back when you were chief of police, and he goes, "My God, Connor Blair? It's good to see you. What brings you here? What's happening? And who's this lovely young lady?"
Well, I suppose it's been a while. We're just here to see some bodies. This lovely young lady has seen some things that she probably would likely not have. And we want to see if that
I
is
didn't get any
correct.
call from the station.
I know.
Normally,
was there.
Sergeant Jenkins is the one that gives us a call.
We talked to Sergeant Jenkins earlier. It was a weird occurrence, but on good old face, because you know how things go. This is not a good lead we have right now, and it is not. It's not sizably something that is probably going to hold in court. I need to do this. It's an old case of mine that probably is researching. I'm doing this for me.
Oh,
He said that was okay.
well, by all means, you can come take a look. Is there any time period of the bodies that you're looking for, or and by the way, if I may say so, every single chief, every officer is going to have a case that doesn't work out, and I do not think that the politics should have played out the way that it did for you, Mr. Blair. I think that it's very unfair, and I think that you were a wonderful chief for this city.
Certainly happy that you believe that. Not everyone does. But then again, it is what it is. And I would probably just give him the information that I was sent earlier.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Just come with me. Still got the bodies down here. He takes you down some stairs, and a little further down, you are led to these bodies that are still kind of like out to be looked at. So there's still sort of things that are being done and observed about them. There's a notebook next to it, or a notepad, next to it, that has several pages of just notes, things that people have observed about the bodies. And while there is a sheet over them, the examiner pulls back the sheets, and what you see is very interesting. Wounds directly on the throat, directly where a kindred would bite, but normally when kindred bite, they're able to seal the wounds quickly behind to leave no trace. Not only did that not happen, but there are many marks of teeth. Specifically, the shape that they are in is very, very unique. And the penetrating holes from the teeth are large, wide, deeper than something that you're used to seeing. Chunk of the flesh just lacerated out from where it was sitting into the throat. The same, almost identical wound on the other.
See.
Can I make a wits and intelligence roll to see if Lilith notices anything?
You could do intelligence investigation if you want.
Okay, I'll do that.
You could do the same if you want, Connor.
In a second. Also, short question.
Mm-hmm.
Since horrible things just occurred,
Mm-hmm.
if I would just activate Mesmerize here, since he's human, it would not, like, be a problem, right?
Most
Sure.
likely not.
Yeah. Okay, good. Then we'll do those rolls. Wait.
Yeah, roll
Intelligence and...
roll 100 dice for it.
Oh no. Please, no. I don't want to do it again.
So for my roll, I got, I did not succeed on the intelligence, but on the investigation, I got a 10.
For sure.
I see.
What is the roll
Why
you're
is
making?
everything terrible? Just intelligence investigation.
Oh.
Why is everything I roll terrible?
It's fine.
4, 2, 2, 2, and then a 10 on the hunger dice.
Good news is, since the hunger dice was for a rouse roll, it's not that bad. It's actually pretty good to roll a 10. You kind of don't know what to make of the wounds just from looking at them. Lilith, this doesn't look like Kindred. But you know what it does look like?
Don't say it.
A wolf attack.
I knew you were going to say that.
All right, so
Lilith.
you've mesmerized this person, by the way, Connor. What is the mesmerization you are wishing to do?
I just want him to leave the room and forget that we were here. Also, like, on the way out, just ignore us.
All right. He does exactly that and exits the room.
Sorry. Just sorry to do it to the poor old guy. Oh well. Sam, what do you make of this?
Lilith looks down and she kind of like examines the wounds, and she kind of like runs her fingers over them, and she just does a soft curse in Arabic and then goes, "These are wounds like what a wolf would leave."
I thought that too. But all the blood has been drained. Thought Guru at first, with the other victims in the East Bay. I talked to Tenorio. I talked to Mandy. Talked to some other kindred on our side. We had a couple interesting ideas.
Those being?
I mean, it's almost, she kind of like tilts her head and she shakes her head and she's like, "I don't want to sound loopy here, but it's almost as if a guru was embraced and did these marks."
Interesting theory. I think it's simpler than that.
I hope so, because I don't like the idea that nightmare could be.
I don't even know if that has happened before.
Simply put, we think that it's Gangrel. Gangrel as Wolf doing the draining.
Why don't you go ahead and say it, Sam?
Say what?
What Gangrel? And she turns to where the voice is. I don't know. I don't know if he's still invisible or not. What Gangrel would be doing this?
Well, we know that it's not Mandy the Owl. I know that it's not you because on the night of one of the murders, you were taking this fine gentleman here to Oakland.
Oh, what a terrible night that was.
I got an alibi from Scarlet. That's the only Cam that I've talked to. And as far as the Gangrel from Clayton, Stevie, Daniel, they have alibis as well. So, my question seems to be, is there some Gangrel in the Camarilla that I need to know about? And if there's any Sabbat that you might know that are still lurking around doing this.
Lilith begins to look very uncomfortable. I really doubt that it would be a Cam Gangrel. As for the other possibility, I would have to investigate. Get in touch with some old contacts of mine.
What do you think, Connor? You think Camarilla Gangrel would be into this?
If this would have been a Camarilla Gangrel, I'm fairly sure they would have been disposed of by now. The only thing is, there are also none that would come to mind immediately. But again, I've been out of the loop for a bit, as today might have shown. So
I'm fascinated that you would say this, both of you, to be honest. As though the Camarilla aren't capable of doing something like murder.
well, it's not that they're not. It's more that the police enforcement here As much as it pains me to say this about these people, most of the time they're capable enough. As well as someone who's been here for a while, the camera control is tight. At least the control over their people. I'm fairly sure if this would have happened, it would not have there would not simply not have been a possibility for it to go on this long. Either that, or it is something that they hold under very, very, very deep veil of secrecy. It's the Camarilla, that is possible.
The Camarilla loves their secrets and backstabbing.
Do you want to know what all the victims have in common? How we know it's a serial killer?
Sure.
All of the victims have been ghouls.
Of who?
Various kindred, but all of them ghouls.
At the mention of that, Connor visibly freezes up a slight bit.
Mm-hmm.
Connor?
Hmm?
Is it
Yeah.
me, or does it seem like maybe somebody is trying to send a message?
No, that does seem the most likely thing. I don't like this.
Sam, what do you think? Sorry.
I don't pretend to be able to think like an animal. But if I were to guess, I would say that the reason ghouls are being targeted is because someone is probably frustrated with ghouls existing in general.
Yeah, that does seem... Alrighty. Is that all we needed to see here?
I suppose I have one more question. My question is, you wouldn't have any reason to protect Cammy Gangrel, would you?
Not particularly. Let's say it like that. People I protect are the people I respect. Those are fairly few and far between. On both sides. On any side, really.
Lilith. And you can feel that while Sam is still invisible, he's stepped closer to you to ask you, Lilith.
If the Camarilla has a Gangrel that is doing this, then I have no reason to protect that Gangrel, because this brings a negative attention to us. If it's not the Camarilla, and it's not the Anarchs, she just leaves it at that. If this is a Gangrel doing this, then they need to then I think that they might need to be staked out as a rabid puppy.
Okay. Well, if it's gonna be that simple, I suppose I'm done here for now.
Before we leave, Connor would probably like to take a look at the notes of the person regarding the bodies.
Mm-hmm.
With like this body.
And while Connor is taking a look, Lilith just kind of leans over to Sam and asks if she can talk to him outside in private.
Sure. Why not? Could be fun. Connor, looking at the notepad here, you see that it's been written off as a wild animal attack, a wolf that has attacked this person, but also they note how strange it is that almost all the blood in the body has been entirely drained. So there's not a lot of splatter from the body. It's all come from the wound. They noted that it could be a result of where the body was found, which they noted they found that the body was washed up from the bay, but they've never seen all the blood just gone from the water, but they're not ruling it out.
Fair enough. And Connor will just probably... Like, Connor has noticed that the others are just outside at this point, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Like, Connor is not going to them, but Connor is just going to leave and lock the thing again.
Okay. You see that out there over in that room, where you first passed, the music is back on, and the medical examiner is sitting in the chair, but instead of working, they're just staring off, like, at the wall, just hypnotized. Before you make it outside, Lilith and Sam outside. What's up?
So, there's two possibilities here. If you know it's none of the Anarchs, and Connor's pretty sure that it's not the Camarilla, then the possibility is either an unaffiliated individual or the Sabbat. What are your thoughts?
I think Connor doesn't know shit about the Gangrel. I just wanted to hear if Connor thought anything interesting about the victims.
The fact that they're targeting ghouls is interesting.
I agree. But also, I know that there is an older kindred. One that has been a... And he scoffs and rolls his eyes. So, like, to speak this is just frustrating for him to say. There's a Camarilla, Gangrel, named Harper.
Who is Harper?
Got himself a new childer. I don't know who this childer is. I don't know if they're crazy. But I have my suspicions. Basically, I'm not gonna lie and say that my dislike for the Camarilla is making me unbiased. Truth is, I really, really hope that it's the Cam. Because if it isn't, that means we're gonna have to go Sabbat hunting. And I don't wanna.
How long has Sam and Lilith known each other?
As long as you have been kindred, Sam the Snake is someone who always turns up at Anarch events, even when you don't know that they're there, always revealing themselves as like this, hey, I was listening the whole time, people sure will pay well for this information, asshole kind of like that, Nosferatu.
Okay.
As long as you've known, Sam has been
So-
that person. But at the very least, Sam knows things. And gets very frustrated not knowing things.
Gotcha. So he probably knows a little bit of Lilith's backstory then.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So at the mention of going Sabbat hunting, she kind of looks at him and goes, let's both hope that it's Camarilla. Because I don't think either of us want to go Sabbat hunting.
Yeah.
But I've never heard of this Harper. I'll look into it. I'll put my ear to the street, see what I can find. And whatever I find, I'll let you know. And let's keep this little part between you and I and not worry Connor with it.
Why shouldn't I tell Connor about a potentially new childer?
Because if it is a Gangrel, then I would rather be the one to find out about it being the childer, because it would probably look better coming from one, a Gangrel bringing this information to the prince if it is a Camarilla, and two, from an independent outside agency like myself, that all parties can be satisfied.
Thing is, I don't know if it's Harper or Harper's childer. I don't know if it's Cash, the Primogen. I don't know if it's Gustavo. God knows why the fuck Gustavo isn't an anarch. I don't know. I don't know if it's some unknown gangrel that's out there. Frankly, I look at Connor and I see someone who's trusted by the cam not to betray the cam, who would absolutely drop the cam in a moment if he thought that there was something to be gained from the other side. And I want to know what Connor knows. This is when Connor will arrive from the front doors.
And Connor will just go to the others. Let them know what he has, seen in the notepad.
Okay.
And go, put up the keys and go. I should either get these back, which sounds like a dumb idea, or at least put this at a point where it's been reasonable for the person to lost them. So, I suppose I should be doing that. We're all quite done here?
So, I think Sam has something that he would like to discuss with you that we've been talking about out here.
By all means.
Do you care about the gangrel and the cam?
What's the question?
Do you care about the gangrel and the cam?
Not particularly. Either way. I've told you before, I care about the people that I respect. There are very few people that get to be people I respect. You know, I didn't come from here. I moved here. Way back when. You mentioned the Golden Gate Bridge, I moved here. Around 2 years before they opened that. And quite frankly, I moved here because I thought the world was quite a lot bigger than I thought. And it is. The thing is, really like it here. Or at least not on this part of town. Or in most parts of town, rather. And at some point I made a decision that I thought was for the best. That was quite stupid. I think all I know and really care about right now is neither the Gangrel nor the can. But rather how can I get back to the point before I made the very, very, very stupid decision.
If you knew a Gangrel named Harper, if you knew about a Gangrel named Harper's Childer, I don't know who the Childer is or anything, but if you knew them, would you get information about them back to me?
That depends. I probably would, let's be real. But then again, so far this is a one-way deal. That doesn't strike me as quite that good. However, the idea of people on the Anarch side having a good word for me when this entire hole eventually blows down might not be so bad. So I'd be willing to.
Yeah. You want a sweeter deal than that. He becomes visible. And, the beast is going to whisper to you. And just say, do you really think that this Nosferatu is worth making deals with? Probably better to just eat right here and right now. Think about all the information you could learn. You'd know which side is winning. You would know which side is stronger. Not to mention, you wouldn't have to listen to this conversation anymore. Just get what you want. Train this Nazi for all he's worth.
Do I have to make a roll to, like,
No, if you
do
don't,
anything with it? Okay.
if you don't want to.
No, not after the things that have happened so far. But no,
Live life on the edge.
I would if that is what Connor would do. It's not though. No, Connor will visibly shudder a little bit. Just go. I don't know. How much sweeter?
I will tell you this, because I am empowered to do this. Directly from the Baron of Oakland. If you give us information on the Gangrel in the Camarilla, you will be ensured safe passage to Oakland. Complete safety. Not only that, but if any altercation would to happen, the protection of the Anarchs as well.
Oh, that's nice enough.
I cannot speak for other barons. I'm only speaking for the Baron of Oakland.
Well, that's fine enough by me. It was more... Would this be in effect immediately? Or would it be fine if I turn this in later?
Later.
More on the idea of I would be granted protection if this would go to shit. However, if at some point before everything went to shit, I would like to, you know, switch sides a little bit, at least for a while. Would that be fine? Truth be told, and I will be quite honest here, we'll find that I am, most of the time, more honest than a lot of entries. I'm not really keen on the idea of joining the Anarchs outright. Much like I was not keen on joining the Camarilla. Still aren't. But I like the idea of, not being bound by the camera.
That's what anarchy is about.
Fair enough.
I will certainly tell interested anarchs about this. Absolutely.
I have but one question, though. Not to you, though. How do you think about this?
Why are you asking me? You are the one who was fucked over by the prince.
That is not
You are the one who talks about how you don't really feel welcome here. The anarchs, let's be honest, I may not agree with everything that the anarchs do, but I think that this would be your best deal. But if you go to the anarchs, just know one thing. Your prince will not be very forgiving when you come back. If you come back.
Oh, I don't think I will. That was not even the full question. It was more, how do you feel about the information being sent this way? Are you fine with that?
Lilith, you feel your phone vibrate.
So Lilith is reaching and pulling her phone out as she says to Connor, here's what I think about tonight. If there is a rogue Gangrel out there, I don't want any blowback on the clan, be it Camarilla, Anarch, or other. It's what my position is. And then she looks at her phone.
It says that your message that you sent from when you were crossing the bridge just now sent. And pulling your phone out and looking at it, it is seen by Sam, who goes, that must mean it's time to get going.
I would think that it is probably time that we be making ourselves scarce.
Sounds good to me.
So Connor,
The answer you're looking for is yes.
About what I said about blowback on the clan. Do you think you could help with that?
I can try my damnedest.
Because you know I don't trust Ventru. But
You don't have a reason to. I understand. Most of us are not very trustful.
I have a lot of more reasons to not trust Ventru than you can imagine. But I will be honest with you. I asked Sam to not share this with you, simply because I didn't know where you stood on this. And while yes, I am not affiliated with any of the organizations possibly involved, I do have loyalty to any of those of the Wolf. And as such, if it comes down to it, one, we have a set of codes and honors, and this is bringing dishonor to our clan. And two, well, loyalty to the clan always comes first, even if it means taking care of one of our own problems. But you've given me something to think about. And she just kind of like puts a hand out.
I will accept that. Wholeheartedly. Well, I will try my best. As it stands, as I said, I'm fairly sure that, my influence is not that big. Not anymore, at least. Perhaps it never was. But then again, you did something for me today. Things like that are not easily forgotten. It's as simple as that.
Alright, well, let's get going, before somebody thinks that I'm here.
So Lilith starts walking to the car and then looks at the fender that is now dented right next to the amazing artwork. Connor,
I'll pay for that.
Yeah. But I would suggest leaving the artwork because you do not want to piss Mandy off.
I would simply go give you the money, but I thought you knew someone that could repair your car, but sure.
Please. This is your prince's car.
Oh. And Connor will just groan audibly. But go in. Sure.
Am I dropping you off that?
Like, as much of a, thing that he would not normally do, he will just tell Lilith where his home is.
Wow. Okay, that's building up some trust. So Lilith is going to just kind of sit there and shock for a second, which does not happen to her. And she just goes, okay, and starts driving.
All right. Heading on the way back towards Connor's home, back across the bridge. On the street, as you are stopped at a red light, I would like both of you to roll wits and awareness.
All right.
I just can't roll for shit, man. It's a 4, a 3, and a 2, and hunger is 9.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It really is.
I just cannot catch it right.
10.
Oh, we love to see it. As you're stopped at this red light, both of you notice that the car turns off. Engine goes off. The headlights stop. And the lights inside won't come on. Lilith, you notice back on the street from where you were coming from, heading all the way toward you, all the street lights are going out one by one in a direct path toward your car. Looking down the other streets, you see that all the lights are heading down from all the intersections, converging on where the car is stopped. And the street light directing traffic, the red bright light, is flickering on and off. From behind, you see walking down the center of the street an older woman. She is walking with a cane, with a limp. And you know exactly who this is. And you know La Sombra activity when you see it.
Oh, son of a...
Because of your fear, your hunger goes up by 1.
For both of us?
No, just for Lilith.
Okay. Aye.
Connor, you don't notice that all the lights are out. You're just like, what's wrong with the car? Until, like, all the street lights nearby are out. You do not notice the woman approaching.
If Connor looks over at Lilith, he would see her staring out the rearview window, or the rearview mirror, and she is gripping the steering wheel so hard that she's literally bending the metal of the steering wheel.
What's going on?
Sam just lets out a sound that goes, well.
You ever heard the term proper fucked?
Yeah.
Yeah, we might be
I've
proper
heard of that.
fucked.
Well, fitting end to this night.
Lilith is just going to keep watching the old woman approaching, and she's just going to keep trying to start the car, even though she's pretty sure it's not going to start.
All right, at this point, with absolutely no sound going on around you, Connor, you can hear the footsteps behind the car, and also just the kind of silence, like it's so quiet except for these footsteps in the city. And coming up, you can hear it going to the driver's side as the footsteps grow louder. You know who this is, because now you can hear a cane. This is the La Sombra minister of the Tenderloin, Consuela Martinez. She was a defector of the Sabbat a while ago. And she is someone who talks directly to the prince. Indeed, she is in the royal court. And undoubtedly, she is the one that has stopped the car. I'd like you, Connor, to just roll your hunger real quick.
Aye. It's a 6.
Yep. All right. You just hear the beast in your head go, uh-oh.
Oh, fancy that. Didn't figure that out myself yet.
This older woman approaches your window, Lilith, and she taps on the window with the cane, and then takes a few steps back, indicating that she wants you to come out and talk with her.
So Lilith is going to very slowly get out of the car and close the door behind her and just kind of like lock it, and very respectfully walk over to Consuela, which very respectfully is something that Lilith does not do, for anybody that's wondering.
Lilith?
I
Who's in the car?
That would be Connor and Sam, the snake.
Connor. Sam. Get out of the car and come here.
Connor will very respectfully do that.
And Sam does not become invisible. He steps out and he just smiles and looks at Consuela. She has not taken her gaze off of the Lilith. Tell me, Lilith, what you are doing here with an anarch.
We were investigating a series of murders that have been targeting ghouls that appear to be caused by a gangrel. And as she's saying this, she is kind of like standing in a position of like a child that has been, might be getting admonished by a parent.
Mm-hmm.
She has definitely got her head down, like it's definitely not the normal way that anyone would see the Lilith.
Connor, you know police work. Is it a gangrel that is killing ghouls?
It might be. And it's one of the conclusions that is able to be drawn from the body.
And this is what you are getting from information from Sam the Snake. Or did you do an investigation yourself? And you thought not to come over here and talk to our sheriff about it? Or our hounds? Or a scourge? But you got this information from an anarch.
Yes. Yes, I did.
And then you proceeded to bring this anarch into our territory, Lilith. Without asking permission.
Before I did, I sent a text informing of my intentions of where we were going, and that I was doing so under neutrality, as I do no matter which territory I go into when escorting. I sent the text to be transparent and that all parties were aware and that everything was above board and that we were not trying to hide anything or be deceitful in any way.
That message came to the sheriff after you were already here, doing what you were doing. I don't care if it wasn't something that you didn't notice. And Sam goes to say something. Well, it's kind of, if you say anything, I will kill you. I will send you to the final death right here. And it will take the Anarchs months before they realized what happened to you. Do you understand that, Sam? That's what I thought. I got here because I could, as fast as I can. Yaskar is too far away to get here in time. So asked me to intervene. Me. Someone in the royal court, just to stop you from leaving. The sheriff. And I obliged. Connor, why don't you tell me what this considerable waste of both of our nights is for? You came here because Sam asked you to take him to the morgue to look at the bodies that you think that a Gangrel might have killed. Why would you listen to what an Anarch has to say and not bring it up with the sheriff first, Connor?
There is no suitable explanation for my behavior. It was something that was asked of me, and I decided. It is as simple as that. I was curious. I wanted to know for sure.
As you are talking, a large 4x4 pickup truck starts heading down the road. Both the Lilith and Connor recognize it as the sheriff's truck. It arrives and pulls up behind your car, Lilith. Coming out from the car, out from the truck, is a huge Banu Hakim. A 7'2" vampire that comes and stands right behind you, Connor, and places this gigantic hand on your shoulder. Consuela rolls her eyes and starts walking away. And Yaskar, the sheriff, says,
"Thank you, Consuela."
She doesn't turn back around. As she walks away, the lights slowly start coming on.
Were you trying to do something behind my back, Connor?
Yes.
I don't know
Yes.
if you think that this is Mill Valley, or perhaps you think that the laws of mortals apply to me, or if for some reason you think that the laws and traditions of the Camarilla don't apply to you. But you answer to me. And if there is something that needs to be discussed, you tell me. Is that understood, Connor?
Yes.
You feel his hand leave your shoulder. He walks and stands over by Lilith.
I don't know why you thought it to come over here. You thought it wise to do this, bringing an anarch into our territory without permission. But you did. And I don't care if your phone was having problems. I don't care what happened. Maybe you tried to get a hold of us and the message came late. But this was careless. But there's nothing that I can do to you unless you do something like this again. And you, Sam, what do you have to say?
What were you going to say, Lilith?
Bit of Lilith's cockiness returns now that the former Sabbat has left the scene. Look, I do the procedures that were agreed upon that I would do to notify the Baron if I was escorting Cam into Anarch territory. It is the same procedure that I do when I am escorting Anarch into Cam territory. There is no deceit, nor do I feel like I was being careless. I did what I have always been asked to do as per the agreement with both sides. When I am escorting one or the other, or if I'm escorting any party, it is under neutrality. I apologize. The message arrived late. That was not my intention. But I assure you, there was no intention for deceit. There was no intention to hide that we were here. I will ensure next time that I get a receipt that somebody got the message.
What do you think about that, Sam the Snake?
Well, I'm the one that blocked that message from going through. So, I'm just a little bit disappointed that that message arrived at all. But hey, I'm almost out of the city. It's gotta count for something. Right, Yasky boy? Yaskar looks down at him and says,
If you were any random anarch Nosferatu that did this, I would take you before the prince and most likely execute you then and there. But you have diplomatic immunity for now. But I don't know how much longer that is going to last after tonight. Sam, understand what you did.
Okay, Dad, I will. Why do you and Tenorio sound exactly the same? God. Fucking sheriffs. Yaskar walks over to his vehicle and opens the door. Before he goes in, he says,
I want to clarify. The only one here that I'm disappointed in is Connor. If you ever think that your authority goes over mine, you are sadly mistaken. And next time you think that your authority is greater than mine, you will regret thinking that. I promise you. And Lilith, your agreement that you have between the factions lasts as long as it is shown that you are in line with it. And Sam, I don't expect that we shall see each other again.
not if I see you. And he gives a little bit of a salute. Yaskar gets in his truck and revs his engine and drives away, leaving you all in the street.
You know, Sam, sometimes you can be a real asshole. A kindred after my own heart.
Ah, well, I like to think that it's one of the reasons people call me the Snake.
Just remember, I don't know who else you would be able to get to replace me if, well, I find myself ever having to sing Here Comes the Sun. Let's be on our way before Consuela decides that she wants to have another word with me. I've never liked her.
Well, we don't see eye to eye on many things. We see eye to eye on that.
Yeah, well, Consuela and I have history.
Oh, I could tell that. I've never seen you so afraid of just about anything else before.
Lilith, are you gonna drive Connor to his place?
Yes. Well, yeah.
All right.
We're driving. We're getting away from anywhere where Consuela might be, like, fast, very, very fast.
Yes. Over the well-lit Golden Gate Bridge, then, of course. Heading on over, there's a bit of a relief seeing Mill Valley directly on the other side of the bridge. Sam just mentions, I don't know if you want me to see you where you live and if you don't want to, that's fine. I can find my own way back.
Yeah, that seems good. I'd say get out now.
Hey, pull over at, Sir Francis Drake, will ya?
All right, Sam. Should I actually stop for you this time? Or will you just tuck and roll?
Oh, it's always a challenge to do the tuck and roll.
Up to you. I bet you could at least take out 1 or 2 people if you tuck and roll.
Not at this time of night. Not enough people. We better do a stop.
All right. And Lilith just pulls over and, comes to a full stop. And tell Sam, sometimes the old days were fun. Have a good night, Sam.
I have a quick question. That Toreador that you brought into Emeryville the other day.
Baby Fang?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Fang.
Just a quick question. Is he true, Cam?
I don't think he's old enough to really know how deep he's in over his head. But, honestly, I would say, if you want to try to recruit, sure, go for it.
That's what the second hottest Gangrel told me. See ya. And he turns invisible.
And she's going to just drive Connor to his place.
All right, Connor, why don't you describe your haven on the outside?
It's just basic ass house, essentially. See one of those houses that seem like a fucking Lego company just built them all in a row that all look the same. It's one of those.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely nothing special. It's also very, very, very Spartan. There's no crazy big door rug. There is, a front yard that is orderly, but it is not decorated at all. There are no gnomes. There's no, nothing. Really. The only thing that is a little bit off is, that on the door, there's no direct, doorknob. It's essentially one of, it's been uninstalled. It's an old, doorknob that you would have to, pull and then clunk.
Mm.
One of those. That's kind of the only thing. There's nothing else special about it.
Lilith's going to look at the house and go, damn, this is some basic bitch housing.
Yep.
I actually expected something more ornate.
Well,
from a Ventru?
I don't know. I think it might be the times. This is enough. It does what it needs to. And just like most things. A business doesn't have to look pretty. It just has to be running. This thing is running.
How do you keep the Karens from the HOA out of your business? For real. How much do you pay an HOA cost? There's a better life than this. You seriously are underselling yourself.
You're underselling yourself if you are not around the people that you want to be around. That is underselling yourself. How you live means nothing. With that, you will just walk out.
To each their own. And Lilith's gonna just like head for like the closest open woods area that she can find, where she can just kind of like turn into a wolf and go stalk some prey and be a happy Gangrel. Because there is a better life than this, even if no home.
Connor, you turn the key to go back into your home. You are greeted by several of your ghouls. They are excited to see you. And they are excited to report that the place has been made very clean for you, and that you shouldn't have to worry about any more security issues going on around the place, as they have basically done everything that they can to make the interior close to exterior of your home more resembling of a fortress.
Yup, kinda. How late is it right now? Like,
It's
around?
about 1 a.m.
Okay. Well then. Anyone fancy a midnight snack? Who wants pancakes?
Excellent. That is where I'm gonna end the session, y'all.